Good morning to all of you. I hope that you are able to at least see my screen. So let me start by saying a little bit about myself, so you understand where I come from. So first, let me tell you this a little bit about me. I started realizing that about improving oneself at the age of 4. That might surprise you. Uh, this is because of the fact that I was born in Kuala Lumpur. Just before the war, I was taken to, my father took me. My mother died when I was born. And for some reason, my father took me to Singapore, where he was working for a newspaper company called the Malaya Tribune. And then, as you know, the war started, and we got separated, meaning that at the time that happened, I was in the house when he was working, and the house that I lived in was bombed by the Japanese, and the rest was history. So it was about the age of 4 when I realized that I literally don't know. And the man who brought me up at that time was an ordinary rickshaw puller who picked me up during the war. And I said, at the age of 13, I realized that I could not read or write. My first language was Chinese. And that's how this entire process of me started. Then I worked for somebody for a long time, a Swedish company, for quite some time. And then I retired in 1986. That's when I wanted to make this discovery that I've made of myself public. And I ran a public program free of charge. I ran it in the whole of Malaysia, throughout Malaysia, and some part of the world also. I used to have sessions in Kuala Lumpur, Petaling Jaya, Penang, Terengganu, Kota Baru, all sorts of places for 33 years. Anybody can come and try to listen to me, and there was no fee involved in it. In this process, I met a young lady from your organization called Ravi Chandrika. You can see from the slide, she's the radiographer in the Department of Biomedical Imaging. And you probably know, she is the one who introduced me to Prof. Young one day. And we had a little chat in your canteen. And Prof. Young then invited me to do this program called The Art of Living. I started doing that in 2017 until 2019, when I met Professor Y.K. Chan in one of your morning sessions. This is the Wednesday morning session. And the rest, I'm here today. For 1 year now, we have not been able to do anything because of the COVID. Let me start off by telling you that the most difficult thing that a human being one wishes to do is to self-develop herself or himself. This is the most difficult thing, because everything must come from within the person. It is nothing to do with the outside world. It's you. You are the one that has to develop yourself. You have to discover yourself. That's why I say to people, self-discovery is a path that every single human being can do, because we're different. We are not like any other, we don't call a tiger being. A human being is supposed to be something, and he or she can actually develop herself to anything that she wants to do. And I am an example of that, okay? I'm now 82 years old, okay? So it's a process. If you want to embark on this, please remember that it's a lifelong process. And then you will realize that you can do whatever you want to do. This is not just talking for the sake of talking. I am an example of that. I did my education. I sat for my senior Cambridge 3 years after I learned to read and write. Because if you have the will and you want something, you can get it. I learned many things that I did in life. constantly looking at myself and trying to improve myself. And then during this process, the first thing that struck my mind was, hey, time is a resource that all human being has. That was my focus, because I learned the first day that when somebody wanted to teach me, he told me to be in his place before the sunrise. He gave me a table and he asked me to stand on top of the table. And on that table, he put a little box-like thing, and I had to use my finger to write the word A. And then I have to keep on doing that until I learn how to perfectly write the word A. Now that's how I learned to read and write English language. The first day when I went there, before sun up, I was there. And the only time that I can come down was once in the morning to ease myself, once for lunch, and once in the afternoon about some time. And he used a very simple way to describe by using his hand, sunrise, noon time, and then leveling it off at about somewhere between afternoon and in evening. When the sun go down, I can then go back. That was the first day I realized that if you stand on a table and wait for the sun to go down, it never goes down. That's when I realized the very, very important thing about time. And using that as a basis, I begin to develop things. So the first thing I realized it, as the man who taught me this too. He said, if your body and your mind, if there is no cohesiveness, if it's not together, you will have difficulty learning English, learning anything, he said. The first thing to do, he taught me how to manage my body and manage my mind. And my agreement with him was that I will pay him some money every month. I was already working. I started working at the age of 4. And then I pay him a fee. But then he said, for that fee, he will cook for me. He will cook and serve me lunch. And before I go back, I'll have dinner with him. And that is how he taught me about food, the importance of food in one's upbringing. Okay. And then by using that, he also taught me to manage my body, my mind, to become who I am. And I must tell you, my dear friend, it is not a very difficult process. It's quite a simple process. Okay. And the tools that I use is 3 things: write, goal, and review. Let me try to explain this. Okay. You know, we have perception throughout our life. When we are born, from the time we are born, we begin to receive information and we put them into our memory. A lot of these are perception. They are not real. We absorb them through our eyes, our nose, our ear, our hand, our mouth. Okay, the 5 senses are in which we receive this information. And that is your perception. That is not really what you see. It is the way you have taken the information and kept in your memory. Your memory plays a very, very important role in your life, in my role. Everybody, we are different from any other creature in this world. Our memory has different levels. There are 16 different types of memory you and I have. Let me deal with the one that we are used to, which is this memory. This memory is important to us. Now, this memory has another part, which is it allows you, the mind allows you to imagine. You have a terribly vivid sense of memory and a great imagination of all the things. And then that's why you make up. That's why your perception becomes very real. And that is important. So I started off in the writing process. Everything that I thought in my mind, I begin to write it down. And is it really real? Is it real? Is it the same as I saw it? And that's how I created me, in a way. So it's important that, how do you do that? Use a simple tool. Get a piece of paper and just write it down. Write your thoughts down. And when you start to write your thought, you will realize that actually it's not the way it is. It may be something else. And then you begin to clarify that. When you clarify that, then you set the second step, which is, okay, I want to do something with it. That is what I call a goal. But the goal word is very big. Let me say that you clarify your own perception. And I call this the process of developing yourself. In this word, the goal is the own process that you have to develop in order for you to improve yourself. And the last thing is reviewing. Whatever you do in life, like you got up in the morning, you had your breakfast, you had a bath, and ask yourself, are you happy with what have you done? Your bath, your breakfast, are you happy today? Review everything that you do. If you do some work and you spend 10, 15 minutes doing it, review and find out, hey, can I do this better? Is there a better way to improve it? And the answer will always be yes. Because the moment you say to yourself, I cannot improve it, then your progress will stop completely. So that's why in my life, I never say that I know. All I can say is I don't know. There are very few things I know, lots of things I don't know. So the personal development depends on these three things. The ability to write and clarify. Clarity gives you exactly how you see it. And then by using that, you set a process to make that happen and finally review them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you and I know this, okay? This means that we have to look inside ourselves. From the outside world, we already have memory. We are absorbing that millions and millions and billions of information we are receiving them, but we never pay attention to what we are receiving and whether it is important to us, whether we are seeing it the way it is presented to us. We don't. That's why from the inside, you got to look outside. So this is an individual ability because all of us have that ability to, and the way you go inside is through your mind. And that's by asking yourself, hey, why am I thinking like this? Is there a different way to do this? Is there another way to think of this? Is the process you go through? When you do that, you will find that many things that you have accomplished in your life, little by little, you keep on writing all your achievements, then you will find that actually you are better than what you thought you are. You have that ability. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and doctors, please remember, those of you who have become medical doctors also know this. It is through your memory that you're able to remember whatever you read, and pass your exam and become a famous doctor, or whatever you do. The first thing is to recognize that you as an individual, you have achieved a lot of things in your life. Recognize that. But you cannot compare it with other things. So the experience that you have is your own. That experience cannot be duplicated, but you can show people that experience, or at least share with people this is the way that you create your own path towards becoming successful. Let me also say this to you, okay? That's why the mind and the body is the key to my being what I am. There must be a harmony between the body and the mind and the action that you take. If none of this has a parallel thing, you will not be able to do it. There will always be the hindrance. Oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? That means there is no harmony. This harmony is created from within. It depends on the food that you eat. It depends on your thinking ability. Spend a few moments just listening to yourself and you will find true happiness. You will find it, my dear friend. You will. See, let me ask you this, okay? If you have only 3 months to live, if a doctor told you, an oncologist told you that you have only 3 months to live, will you live the same way? That's the way I look at it. I look at it like this. I will not live tomorrow. This is how I see it. If I live, this is what I want to do. And when I want to do it, this is what I want to do to the best of my ability. Ask yourself this question constantly, and you will realize that you actually are self-motivating yourself. You're constantly practicing this, and a feedback, the review part of it gives you the feedback in which you will realize, hey, actually you can do better. See, we have the ability to become whoever we want to be. And that's why in the book that I published called One Day at a Time, I say many of these things, okay? So again, the tool for your self-development is only three things. First, you must clarify your thoughts. The only way you can clarify your thought is not by talking or by processing the information inside you. Putting it down on a piece of paper. If you put it down, this is what I'm thinking. Why am I thinking like that? What can I do with it? That starts the process of setting an agenda to what you want to do. And then the last part of it is to review. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is important, okay? You see, we all want success. Whatever we consider important, that's what we will pursue. And that pursuit is by yourself. People give you their experience, but you have your own experience. That's why, in my opinion, in order for you to succeed in life, the reviewing every day about what you do, why you do it, how can you improve it, already start the process. This must be continuously done, from eating your food, from your living with your, in a home, your children, your husband, wife, whatever that is. If every day you review your relationship, it will improve. And you know this is true. It's a practice that makes perfect. And then it requires you to stretch yourself. If you do not stretch yourself, you will not be able to improve. Because the moment you say, okay, I'm happy with it, then you are becoming, you are where you are. You're not progressing. So daily you need to push yourself to do little bit better. Any sportsman will tell you, any athlete will tell you that constant practice makes you perfect, makes you improve yourself. My dear friend, okay, we all have habits. We have, okay, we think, but our habits are very strong and they are very, very true. A person's destiny to his success depends on these habits that he or she creates. Check your habits. Is this the right habits? Is this the way this habit is helping me? If this habit is not helping me, how can I improve it? How can I make it even better? This is the way that you constantly do in order to improve yourself. Now, let me give you a quick tip about few things that can give you further insight. The first of that is this, okay? See, you remember that you have been successful. You have done things that has helped you. You have succeeded. In fact, you have learned many things. Out of that learning, can you multiply your output? Keep multiplying it, adding it. Every time you've done something, you tell yourself, hey, I'm quite happy, but I can make it better. Thereby, you are adding your own improvement. Whatever you do, your work, your personal life, your children, whatever they may be. And this is important, okay? There are 4 things in this. Number 1, you must believe in yourself. The belief is the one that creates you, the mind and the body. You create the system within you, your belief system. Your belief system, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. That belief system will start an enthusiasm within yourself. That enthusiasm will give you action. That action will give you knowledge. And all this by writing, by setting the goal process, and by reviewing. This is what I encourage all of you to do it, okay? Now, when you start to compare yourself with somebody else, then you lose it. You never, ever compare yourself with somebody else, because that somebody else is not you. You must compare yourself with yourself. That's how I did it. I always compared what I did. Like now I do this program with you. I will sit down afterward and do a review. Hey, could I have done this better? Is there another way to do it? Now, suddenly I didn't expect that first speaker to not to come. So now I've got a little time, and maybe in the discussion, we can help to understand one another. But the key is to not to compare with yourself with other people. Just compare yourself with yourself, because people tell you stories. You read a lot of books, and you can buy self-help book and all the rest of it. But all this is talking from their experience, their concept, their theory. But you have to get out of that and compare yourself with yourself. This is what made me. Now, my dear friend, when you are unconscious, when you repeat things to yourself over and over and over again, this is what I want, this is what I want, this will work subconsciously with you. And whatever you want in life, be that happiness, be that a good family, be that a good marriage, be that a good child, whatever you want, if you keep repeating that to yourself again and again, subconsciously, you will, that will happen to you. This is the key to your success. Okay, I have now spoken for about 25 minutes. Okay, and I open this to questions, which I think in a way, we will benefit by this. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope it was of some use. Okay, I have a question from Yo Kwan Chan. She says, YK Chan, she says, reading makes a fool man, conference a ready man, and writing a focused man. Does this align with your philosophy? Yes, reading helps you understand other people's point of view or the way they think. You might examine that. And in examining that, you might want to say, hey, is it something that I want to hang on or look at it? Can I practice it? And that's what happened. You know, this is, yes, but remember that people have opinion. People have there are 7.5 billion human beings. Each one of us are different. We are different. Every one of us are different. I've never met two human beings that are the same. I have two sons, okay? And one is 57 years old and the other one is 55 years old. And I'm telling you, they are so different. And every single one of us are different. And so you are a unique human being. That's why the word being is used. You must develop your own. Again, another question is, how do you think this can integrate into our educational system in Malaysia? Okay, I am not the political man, but I must tell you that since I never went to school, I learned everything myself. The teacher who taught me, he just taught me how to read and write. But the man, a rickshaw puller who brought me up, taught me the philosophy of life. Now, a child must be allowed to grow. You restrict a child from growing. See, because I don't come from a system, a school system, I grew. I'm happy that I never went to school. And then I was able to do whatever I did, okay? In fact, you allow a child, a human being must develop by itself. You must allow people to grow. And our system of education need to be looked into to improve it, letting a child develop by himself or herself. The moment you restrict it, the child is then more or less does not grow. I am an example of that, okay? I look at people, I look at education is important, yes. But the system in which we develop people, there are many schools, my dear friend, in this world today, where they teach people not in the way we are teaching in schools. That's why parental education has also become very famous in many parts of the world. Many friends of mine, they teach their own children. The third question is, what is the best method to motivate your student to perform better? Well, first of all, the student must himself or herself realize that, hey, I want to develop. You cannot inject that into the person. The person must have that I want to do better. I want to do well. I want to improve myself. That must come from the student. And then you can, of course, guide, like what they call in the Himalaya, Sherpa, the guide that takes you to Himalaya. He tells you to put the right step, you put the right step in that particular place he points. If you do the wrong way, then he'll say goodbye to you. A Sherpa is a guide. You must become a guide to your student. Guide them, don't show them. You know the old story? Never catch a fish and cook and feed somebody, because that person will never learn. How about if you just teach the person how to fish? Then for life, that person can actually progress. So one of the problems with our education system is does it allow the children to develop her brain or her ability? Are we doing that? These are the questions educationists should ask. Even in the medical faculty of medicine, many people, I know of medical doctors, after spending so many years, give up being a medical doctor and do something else. You know, I know that because they were forced to do medicine, and they didn't want to do it because that's not their passion. They look for their own. No, it's important. Many students maybe don't even know why they are going to school. They think that it's a chore. When you think it is a chore, you definitely will have difficulty wanting to improve. So my point is this: help people look inside themselves to see why and how they can actually improve themselves. Once that road is shown to them, they will do very well. This is what I believe in. Okay, what is the best method of motivating your students to perform better? I would say again, sit down with them, find out from them why they want to take a particular course, why they have become a medical doctor, why is it that you are doing this, why? And you know, that you will discover, or that person will discover, hey, I have a reason to want to do this, and then pursue that. This is what I say. We need to. Okay, you need that. Okay, and the next question is, we need a mentor who will enhance our growth. You had that mentor in the rickshaw man. Shall we press for people who can be mentor, who really cares? Well, yes, you need a mentor as a guide. It's like this. If you go into the jungle, and the only way you can get out of the jungle is by a compass, or if you are very good at the observing the sun and the moon and the stars, you can find your way out. These are guide. A mentor is a guide, not a teacher. I need you to see. I use another word called guru. You see, actually, guru means one who dispels darkness, one who can throw light at darkness. A guru is someone who guide you, like the Sherpa I told you. This is something that all mentors should be. A mentor should guide. A mentor should, in the discussion, explore the possibility of that person, that student exploring herself. Somebody must guide. The initial phase is difficult, but that's why I took on this role some 34 years ago, wanting to do this. And many people, thousands of people have come to me, and almost all of them have succeeded in life. I run this for your convenience. I'm also doing a program on Facebook. You can look for me, and every month there is a program that's going. Even now I do that. And if you need some help, you can always reach me by email or otherwise. and I'll see what I can do for you. Absolutely. Well, the COVID does not allow me to meet. Otherwise, I used to come to your university and talk to people. And I was going to do a session there once a week. Just come there, sit down. If anybody needs any help, come to me. That was my original program, but it never took place. Okay, let's see what happens. I have another question here. This is, again, it says, is passion inborn? Are you right? You are right. Those with passion tend to do better. Those who need to be driven by others end up with a technical focus. Well, it is true. It is true. Let me say this. You see, the thing is this: passion is not inborn. Let me put it. I had no. Look at me. My father was educated in Victoria Institution in Kuala Lumpur. Okay. My first language, I only learned how to speak, not even written. But was it inherent in me that I was able to connect to my memory and then pull it across? The answer is, you develop passion as you go along in life. Something that you like to do. You discover yourself. The way I'm asking to tell you is that when you start to write what you are thinking and all that, you will discover your passion. I discovered that when I was about 15 years old. And that also, in a very, very strange way, that actually I wanted to go out and help people succeed in life. I discovered that myself through this process, meaning what is my thought? Why am I thinking like this? I questioned my own thinking all the time. I kept asking myself, why am I thinking like that? Is there another way? And by asking myself, I discovered this passion. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, you have that passion inside you. Whether you are doing a small job, big job, your family, whatever, that is inside you. Discover it. The moment you discover it, no one can stop you. I have met artists, very famous painters, and they tell me that was not their original intention. And accidentally, they discover themselves by simple things like this process. I have met a very famous yogi, and when I showed him what I was doing, he said, this is the best way to teach people how to, for instance, meditate, for instance, calm their mind down. See, we have a very powerful mind, and it is constantly pushing us all over the place because of our 5 senses that we have. These 5 senses are the one: the eye, the ear, the nostrils, your mouth, and your hand. These 5 senses are always blocking from you seeing yourself. The writing part will improve your ability to understand yourself. That's why my slide on reality and perception. Our perception of ourselves must improve. Come to terms with that. The more you come to terms with that, the better you will be. Okay, it is now nearly 8:40. Do you have any more questions? Yes, I have one more. It says, with constant practice. Oh yes, I have a few more. Okay, let me see what I can do with this. Okay. With constant practice, like your constant writing, you reach level 4 competency, also known unconscious competency, which is not energy demanding. To reach this stage, however, hard work is needed to go through level 3 of competency, which is labor intensive. Yes, yes, Professor Chan, absolutely. You see, My writing every single day, discovering and looking at myself, takes a lot of hard work. It doesn't come naturally. And this is my point, you see. Some people use their handphone or some recording device and try to make it easy. No, you cannot replace hard work. Cannot. Hard work is the only way to success. Easy way will give you short-term success, but not the long-term success. You see, at this age of mine, I'm still able to get up in the morning, do the things that I want to do, and talk to people like you. This is hard work. I spend about 3 to 4 days trying to put this together for a 30-minute talk. Okay, this is hard work. Thinking through what is important, what is not important. How do I see it? How do people perceive it? Because I'm not with you in the stage. So it is hard work. I know what is hard work. Please, ladies and gentlemen, there is no replacement for hard work. You need to work very hard because as a human, that's why you are a human being. You are not like an animal or any other form of creature because they have a simple life. They are born, they eat well, they procreate, and then they die. That's it, simple as that. So bottom line, born. Top line, dead. In between, eat well, and then procreate. That is animal. A plant as an example. Some trees have been there for centuries. I have seen a tree that is 5,000 years old. I've been there and seen it myself. How does the tree live forever? Okay, this is possible because of the fact that the tree itself has learned to manage itself until this point in time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is important that everything requires a lot of hard work. As a human being, we are born. We procreate, yes, we eat, but the top line, what we want to be, is not restricted. Look at yourself. You as a human being, you are the best, you are the most intelligent being in this universe. You know it. And you know what? Are we making use of this ability? Is my question. We need to ask, okay? Okay, let me just, okay. Here is another question. They say that when Badawi was the PM, wanted us to produce thinkers from our university. However, it failed miserably because our education system is not aligned to the thinking process needed. Your thoughts, please. Well, I can only say this. I have met people who are contributing a lot. Yes, they are. I am not a politician. I am not an educationalist. One thing is certain: the more you look at our country, we need to do something to actually make people think for themselves. You remember that fisherman story? That is, if you catch a fish and feed someone, that someone will always rely on you. I must say this, okay? I must say this with no malice intent. And that is, the people that are benefiting in the world are the people who are extremely rich. The poor people who have no money, they are the one that is struggling in the world. And I've seen in my life many of them. But there are, if given the opportunity, they can struggle and work hard to become something. And I've seen that. I have met in my life several people like that in the world. At the age of 13, their father died, and they have to push a cart, and pushing a cart build a multi-billion-dollar company. I've met such people. Or someone who was born with nothing at the age of 7 started selling soap from house to house, just buying a soap from a shop and delivering it to the house. And the lady or the man who bought the soap tipped them, built an empire. I've met them. Okay. By that, I mean, you also met people that you have read a lot about. They also work, but all of them have one common trait. That is, they work very, very hard. They found themselves very early in age. And this is something that every one of us must, okay? Yeah, between hard work and smart work, you got to find a way to do it, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. And I hope that this has been useful.